Welcome to this Alliance Francaise Dublin live event. My name is Clare Foley. I'm a comic maker and illustrator based in Dublin, Ireland. And I'm here today to show you a little bit of my work. I'm going to be reading from my autobiographical comic that I made last year called Breathe. And it's a small section of story from my childhood and some time spent in Mexico with my parents. As a general rule, I would always work with a writer, so it's been really exciting to be able to make a piece that's entirely me this year. So I'm going to read you from it now. Take a deep breath. I've always been happiest in the water. Take a moment to remember Mexico. Hey Dad, look at this one. Wow, another one for the collection. Long before I ever came along, my folks got their advanced scuba diving certs and had a business filming tourists' dives off the coast of Cozumel for several years before moving back to California and eventually to Ireland. Choosing homeschooling made it easy to roam. Our little apartment off the square in Valladolid had the perfect view. Panuchos, tamales, honk honk. We ventured off on expeditions some days. Cenotes, from the Yucatec Maya Cenote, meaning well of groundwater, are limestone sinkholes where partially filtered water collects. The locals referred to the sweet water owing to the exceptionally clean taste of the clear water. These wells were vital to the Mayan civilization, with important cities and sacred temples such as Chichen Itza being built around specific cenotes. Some cenotes played a huge role in Maya rites. Expeditions and deep dives of the caves have uncovered evidence of sacrificial practices, as they were believed to be gateways to the afterlife. Cenote Zaki was like a local swimming pool, a 300-foot deep, eerily still swimming pool. It's hard to comprehend these numbers as a kid. Dad always liked to show off. Hey Claresy, check out the ledges down the sides of the cenote. There's something way down there. Take a deep breath. Splash. A flip-flop. Hey, my flip-flop. I can't believe you found it. I can no longer remember if this bit actually happened, or if Dad just added it to the story years after, as a comedic flourish. He loved to add a little seasoning to a tale to improve it. What else is down there? Splash. Hey, look what the gringo found. When the second find was claimed, I was disappointed. I wanted a prize of my own. Don't worry, there's always tomorrow. The next day, he made good on his word. You see, he was an excellent breath hold diver. Strong lungs. Mom, look! It works perfectly! To me, the watch seemed to take on properties of a precious alien artifact, shrouded as it was in mystery. Who had its owner been? How long had the watch been ticking away 30 foot underwater, in the darkness? It's strange to think back about it now, knowing those lungs would be what eventually gave out entirely. Though that wouldn't be until 2016. Take a deep breath. The watch itself is long gone. It disappeared in one of the house moves. But the memory is extremely precious to me. Every now and again, I like to stop, take a deep breath, and remember these wonderful moments. And that is the end of Breathe, which is my autobiographical story, which I made last year. I'd just like to talk to you a little bit about my work generally. I always work with watercolours. I'm just going to show you some examples of the previous books I've worked on. This is of particular interest to the French crowd, Alliance Française. This is a adaptation of an Honoré de Balzac short story called La Grande Bretèche. This was actually the first comic I ever made. And I really loved the Balzac short story. I felt it could really do with an adaptation. And I really had a lot of fun making this one. I also worked on Frozen Waste. This is written by Aaron Fever, and I illustrated it. Also all in watercolours, and also all hand lettered in both cases. And then this is Blood Runs Cold. It's an anthology I made with a number of very talented writers and letterers, including the list here. Illustrated by myself, and has some really interesting horror stories, which are all watercolour illustrations too. As a general rule, I work with very few tools. I'm a real Luddite, so I don't do any editing afterwards. So what I'm using are just very basic brushes, and it's going to be sacrilege, but I often use a tray and some tubes when I run out of the tray colours. I really do keep it pretty simple, and I hand letter quite a lot of my work with just a basic pencil. That's about the extent of the tools that I use day to day in what I do. Well, thank you very much for watching. It's time to say goodbye, but stay tuned for other Alliance Française live events. There's some really good ones coming up in the next while, so do stay tuned for those. I'm going to leave my social media links below if you'd like to follow me. I'd really appreciate if you check that out as well. Thanks very much, and bye bye.